Hello everyone, today I'm gonna be presenting or talking about the the first chapter of the textbook, which is what is a discourse community. To begin, a discourse community is a group of people who share the same goals and communicate in specific ways. They use certain vocabulary, follow certain rules, and depend on common methods of sharing information. John Swales explained that what makes a group a discourse community is not just membership, but the way members communicate and work together towards shared goals. In simple terms, a discourse community is a group that communicates with the same language because they want to achieve the same purpose. Defining a discourse community. First of all, every discourse community begins with a clear purpose. These goals guide the group's action and communication. Defining discourse community. Every discourse community begins with a clear purpose. These goals guide the group's action and communication. For example, a religious community focuses on spiritual growth. A university focuses on learning, teaching, and research. A workplace focuses on completing tasks or serving clients. Without these shared goals, the group would have no direction. Goals keep members united and give meaning to their communication. Communication methods. Discourse communities depend on organized communication. This can be spoken, written, or digital. For example, we have sermons, lessons, emails, reports, online meeting, and forums. These communication channels allows members to exchange information, solve problems, and stay connected. They also help maintain order and structure within the group. Participation means taking part in the activities of the community. Members might attend meetings, join discussions, share ideas or knowledge, and complete tasks. Participation help people learn the group's expectations and feel like they belong. Without participation, a discourse community cannot function or grow. Genres are the typical form of communication used by the community. For example, in religion, we have sermon, prayer sessions, and Quran recitations. In academia, we have lectures, exam, and research papers. In professional settings, we have emails, presentations, and reports. Each genre has its own structure and purpose. Members learn these genres in order to communicate effectively within the group. A clear sign of a discourse community is its special vocabulary. These are words or phrases that members understand but outsiders may not. For example, in Islam we have Ummah, Sharia, Sunnah. In university we have hypothesis, thesis, and methodology. This shared vocabulary helps members communicate quickly and precisely. It also creates a sense of identity and belonging. Membership standards. Every discourse community has standards for who can join and how members advance. These standards can be formal, for example, academic degrees, training programs, or tests. They can be also informal, like learning the vocabulary, participating in discussion, or understanding the group's norm. These standards help maintain the quality and structure of the community. Why discourse communities matter. Understanding discourse communities is important because they shape how we communicate, think, and behave. They influence our identity, beliefs, speaking style, and the way we interact with others. People don't belong to just one discourse community, they belong to many at the same time. For example, you may be part of a religious community, a school or university community, a family community, or an online community. Each of these shapes who you are in different ways. This is why studying discourse communities helps us understand the world around us and how we fit into it. Islam is a strong example of a discourse community because it has clear goals, communication systems, genres, vocabulary, and membership. The shared goals of Muslims is to practice their faith, improve spiritually, and spread Islamic values. Their communication occurs through Quran, Hadith, sermons, study groups, and online platforms. Islamic genres include prayers, sermons, and religious debates. Their special vocabulary includes Ummah, which is community, Sharia, which is Islamic law, and Sunnah, which is Prophet's tradition. Their membership involves believing in Islamic teaching, performing rituals, and learning the basic vocabulary and practices. Discourse communities are living, changing systems, and one of their most important qualities is their ability to evolve over time. They are not frozen in one form. Instead, they adapt as new technologies, social roles, and communication practices emerge. A clear example of this evolution can be seen in religious discourse communities, particularly within Islam. For many years, communication in this community was tied to physical space such as mosques, madrasas, local study groups, and community gathering. These places followed long-standing tradition that shaped how knowledge was shared. They also determined who has the authority to speak, who could teach, and what forms of communication were acceptable. These norms created a stable but somewhat limited structure. But as digital technology developed, the discourse community began to transform. New online platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Zoom became powerful tools for teaching and discussion. These digital spaces expanded the community beyond physical locations, allowing people to join from anywhere in the world. They also introduced new genres of communication, short video reminders, live Q&A sessions, podcasts, and interactive comment sections. These formats changed the rhythm and style of how the community communicates. One of the most significant results in this shift is the growing participation of women. In traditional settings, women often have had fewer opportunities to teach or lead public discussions. But online platforms created new accessible spaces where they could share knowledge, build audience, and contribute actively to religious learning. Their increasing presence shows how technological change reshaped the boundaries of the discourse community, making it more inclusive and diverse. This example highlights a deeper truth. Discourse communities evolve by adjusting their membership, their communication channels, and even their specialized language. When new tools appear, the community incorporates them. When social expectations shift, the community responds by opening new roles for its members. Through these changes, the community remains connected to its core goals, but it expresses them in new ways. Overall, the rise of digital participation, especially among women, demonstrates that discourse communities are dynamic and continually adapting. They grow with society, respond to new challenges, and reshape themselves through every generation. This ongoing evolution is what keeps a discourse community relevant, active, and capable of serving its members over time. Universities also form a strong discourse community focused on knowledge and learning. Shared goals are teaching, researching, and helping students grow intellectually. Communication terms used as lectures, emails, academic papers, and online learning systems. The common academic genres include research articles, presentation, and exams. The special vocabulary terms used in universities are the common ones are hypothesis, theory, and methodology. Membership includes students, professors, staff, and researchers. Membership usually require academic qualification. Knowledge in action refers to the way a discourse community uses what it knows to solve problems, communicate effectively, and achieve its goals. It's not just about having knowledge, it is about applying that knowledge in real situations. In any discourse community, whether religious, academic, professional, or social, Members share certain ways of thinking, speaking, and working. But what truly brings the community to life is how this shared knowledge is practiced every day. For example, in a university discourse community, knowledge in action can be seen when students use theoretical concepts during class discussion. Researchers apply academic methods or to investigate real issues. Professors use their expertise to teach, publish, and mentor, and different departments exchange ideas to create new innovations. Here, knowledge is not just a static fact written in books, it becomes active through lectures, debates, writing, experiments, and collaborations. In a religious discourse community, knowledge in action appear when members apply religious teaching in their daily lives. Scholars interpret texts and share guidance with others. Communities hold discussions, sermons, and study circles, and believers spread value in teaching through online platforms. In this case, knowledge becomes real through practice, through prayers, discussion, teaching, and moral actions. Understanding knowledge in action helps us see that discourse community is more than a group of people with similar ideas. It is a system where shared knowledge continuously shapes behavior, communication, and identity. The community stays alive because its knowledge is used, tested, adapted, and passed on. In short, knowledge in action is the practical side of a discourse community. It shows how ideas move from theory to practice, how members learn from each other, and how the community grows and evolves over time. Some universities blend multiple traditions. For example, Zaytuna College mixes Islamic studies with liberal arts, creating a unique academic identity. Even though they are different, they share many features of discourse communities. Islam is faith-based, focused on spiritual growth, strong community spirits, and rich traditional texts. University is knowledge-based, uses academic writing and evidence, and focuses on research and critical thinking. The shared features between these two discourse communities is that they both have special vocabulary, genres, membership systems, clear goals, organized communication, and the ability to adapt with technology. This shows that discourse communities can look very different on the outside but work in similar ways on the inside. The key takeaways from the previous informations are that discourse communities organize how groups communicate and work together. They also help members develop identity, belonging, and shared understanding. And they also influence how we think, speak, and act in different social spaces. Understanding discourse communities gives us the tool to navigate academic, religious, culture, and digital environment more confidently. To conclude, we all participate in many discourse communities throughout our lives, and each one plays a meaningful role in shaping how we think, communicate, and understand the world. These communities provide us with shared goals, common ways of speaking, and familiar methods of exchanging information. By learning how they work, we begin to understand why our communication changes depending on where we are and who we're speaking to. Understanding discourse communities also reveals how active and flexible they are. They grow, adapt, and transform as new technologies appear and as society changes. New communication tools create new spaces for participation, and voices that were once limited gain opportunities to contribute. This evolution shows that discourse communities are not fixed tradition, they are living systems that constantly reshape themselves to stay relevant and meaningful. Recognizing the communities we belong to gives us an important advantage. It helps us communicate more clearly, respect different perspectives, and move confidently between different social and academic settings. It also helps us appreciate the shared knowledge and value that bring people together. In the end, studying discourse communities helps us not only improve our communication, but also better understand our own identity and the many groups that influence us. It reminds us that language is a powerful tool. one that connects us, guides us, and allows us to participate fully in the world around us. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and engagement. As we move forward, I encourage you to think about the discourse community you belong to and how they influence your identity and communication. Thank you for listening.